Hi Capricorn, and welcome to my channel. This is Jade with yesYesYes, and today we're going to do your Lenormand reading for January 2019. So the Lenormand deck was created by Mademoiselle Lenormand in Paris in, I believe, the 19th century. And there are 36 cards. We're going to lay all of them out because I'm going to do what the most famous reading is the Grand Tableau. So we'll look at different aspects of what's going on, but we're going to do it in a very surface way, very general way, because this reading can go into lots of layers and lots of depths. But what I love about it, and it's one of the most accurate readings I give and I receive, is because it's very cut and dry. It's very like, this is how it is. You see everything as it is. I'm going to read it like it's a sentence, and we'll move forward from there. So I have pre-shuffled, but I'll shuffle some more for you, and I'm thanking you now for all of your likes and your shares and your subscribing. And if you are resonating with this, please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear about how this is for you. And if you want to do a reading with me, all that information is in the box below, website and Instago and all of that. So let's see what we have here for the lovely Capricorn for their birthday season. January 2019 for Capricorn. Where does this all begin? That's the one. Okay, here we go. The book, the path or the crossroads, the park, key, the heart, anchor, the coffin, and the bear. Next line, the sun, the letter, the woman, the fish, the storks, rider, the dog, and the clover. The mice, the bouquet, the snake, the birds, the cross, the tree, the boat, the ship, and the mountain. I forgot to say this is the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. It's a beautiful deck. And the tower, the stars, the moon, the lilies, the fox, the ring, the whip, and the gentleman is down there at the bottom. And then these four will give us kind of a layout of what's going on. The house, the child, the scythe, and the clouds. Okay, first things first is these are our significator cards. The masculine energy way over here. So basically, if you're in the masculine, all of this is going to be your past. We're going to be talking about what has brought you to the place that you are now. Feminine energy is here. This is going to be your past, this is your present line, and then everything in the future is there. So this is your subconscious, this is your conscious. Right now what it's looking like is that for the feminine, the masculine is far away in the subconscious but in the future. And for the masculine, the feminine is in the past and he's thinking about her. So that's just a general, but we'll talk more about it as well as the pathway between the two. And give me a second, I'm going to count and see if any of the cards are in their own house. Okay, everything is as it is, nothing is in its own house. So the flavor is these four cards at the bottom. But let's get started. So we have the book here. There's a secret. There's a secret that you made a choice about in the past. Again, this is the past for everyone. And it was a very public choice. We'll see what comes forward from that. Basically, it has something to do with love, okay? So perhaps there's a past relationship that we're discussing for both parties, masculine and feminine, where it was a very public choice that you had to make in regards to knowing where you stand in love and knowing where you stand for a stable love, okay? Now, what I am seeing is that there was an ending, or there is coming an ending to this stable love. It could be that the stability in itself is ending, and now it's going to turn into something, and actually the bear is another stable card, but what I'll say is that it might turn into more of a financial struggle. So this is telling me that perhaps for the female, in the past, there was a relationship where you had to make a choice, and you wanted it to be a stable relationship, but that needed to end, and now, you know, it's sounding like it might have been a marriage, because now we're in a financial choice in the future. So you might have to unravel yourself financially from another, okay? If you're in the masculine, this is all of your past. So there was some kind of choice about a relationship in the past, and you wanted it to be stable, but that stability ended, okay? So we're basically saying the same thing, even though we have the lines crossed, is that there was a stable relationship in the past. Everybody wants a stable relationship. Unfortunately, it has ended. Now, this is above both of you, so I don't actually feel like this has anything to do with this connection, okay? We'll see what this connection is all about, okay? Going to the feminine here, we've got a lot of energy and excitement here, and there was, and it had to do with writing. So if the feminine here, if you are a writer, then this is about your career. If this is about communication in general, like texts, emails, sex, or, you know, even journaling, there was a lot of excitement and a lot of energy that was onto that. It could even be building websites, writing code, anything that has to do with physically writing something. So there was a lot of energy, and there was a lot of success with that in the past for you, feminine. And that brought money. So right now you're in a good moneyed place. Hey, all moneyed up, girl. So let's move forward. There's something new that's coming forward and for you in the future. We're talking about money. So this will probably have to do with your with your work here. So there's something new coming, and I think a close friend is actually going to bring you some information that's going to be very lucky. Now, it could just be that a friend comes into your life in the future and says, hey, there's an opening at this particular firm that you might want to, send them your resume. Something, but basically it's a friendship that's going to bring you this change, okay? But there's going to be a change. It's along the lines of your career already. I don't see that your career is necessarily changing because you've had so much success there. I think that there's going to be a new opportunity for you that's brought to you by a friend, and it's lucky. So whereas in the past you might be very discerning about going forward and working with a friend, take this information in. By all means, do your due diligence, but just know that it has some promise according to the cards in this very moment. Okay, so that's the feminine energy. For the masculines who are watching, that's what your feminine is going through. So she, in her future, is going to be dealing with this and making this positive change in her world, in her financial world, in her work-related world. Okay, to the third line. In the past, there's been some anxiety, and the anxiety, even though it was you were getting accolades from friends and support from your family, there was still some anxiety and something that was just kind of undercutting, not allowing you to fully feel yourself. So we're talking emotions here, which is interesting. And there was some possibly gossip, but maybe you talking about these things. So what I'm seeing here is that this is all family. We have the tree, so this is our family line, excuse me. And there's some burdens involved. There's a burden that could be burdened by your family. You could be burdened by a health choice or a health routine. Something about either legacy, family, or health, but there's a burden here and it doesn't feel good, okay? In the past, it hasn't felt good. There was some anxiety about it. Now there's something that's working against you. It could be an actual person who's working against you that you're having to deal with and talk to, and it might be some bickering, okay? There may be some bickering. It might be somebody in your family if this is what it's about, okay? But what's happening is that there's some change. That change is happening, but it's going to happen slowly, and it might be that you have to change. This is kind of like the lonely road that we walk on our own. So in order to get past all of this ick and the feelings that you're feeling about this connection, this familial conversation that you maybe have to have over and over again that feels burdensome, you're going to have to change your mind about it, but you're going to have to make that change. You're moving towards it. It is slow going, but it is happening. Now, as the feminine energy, this is where you're at right now, is it's a bickering. You're bickering about it right now. And I don't know, it's hard for me to tell exactly what this situation is because again, the cards are very general. And I'm reading very generally here. But what I'll say is that it's something that is, there's some jealousy and deceit and something that's underlying. It could just be, when you have siblings, you're competitive. So it could just be deep resentment from competition in being of a sibling nature. The other thing it could be, if this is health related, is that you've just been kind of knocked down by trying diets and they're just not working, or you have an illness that you've just been dealing with, and it's just stagnant. But there is going to be some change coming. It's slow, and you're going to have to make that movement happen for yourself. It's not going to happen magically. Okay? All right. So fourth line, we have the Tower. And the Tower is about corporations or institutions, but it's also about us locking ourselves away. And I'm feeling like that might be what's going on here, is that we've been a little lonely, and we've been a little looking to the stars and hoping that we can get through it on our own, making wishes, probably staying up late at night. But what I'll say is that it seems to be either a month ago, or I'll say from the last eclipse, which was the eclipse season was in August. So this could be from a month to up to August. So being kind of isolating yourself, and this could just be emotionally. You may not physically be isolating yourself, but definitely isolating yourself, maybe getting into astrology, or just daydreaming or night dreaming, just kind of taking yourself outside of your head, which is very different from you, Capricorn. So I don't know where this is coming from, but we'll see. But what I'm seeing is that there's a softening happening, and you're embracing a different way of being, okay? And if you're in the feminine, this is you in the future. You're embracing a more sensual nature in yourself, something that you're going to commit to, and it's actually going to charge you, like get you a little feeling sultry and a little more sexy, and it's going to bring this guy, right? So if you're the feminine, if you step into this energy, there's this like masculine waiting for you. So it's you might have been in this dream state, but then something's gonna change it for you, and you're gonna step forward, and you're going to be I'm thinking spicy and saucy. So there's something where you're committing to yourself. It's not really making commitment to anyone else. It's committing to this different part of yourself, this cunning, wise, and also very sensual and sexy part of yourself. And that is what's going to bring you. That's your direct line to this man. So get sensual and get saucy, Capricorn. Those are hard words to say. Okay. So this is your physical nature here. Now let's talk about this last line. We've got the home and the child. So it could be your childhood home, and there's something going on that is creating some confusion. So this is totally separate from everything else. Sometimes that does happen. But this could also be your reflection. You're reflecting upon your childhood, and it's creating some confusion. So maybe that is making it difficult for you to step into this new you because you're feeling burdened, because you have some kind of family commitment or a sibling that you're bickering with that is creating some distress here. Also, we could talk about, this could be an immature person or just a new home. Maybe you have just moved into a new home, and there's some confusion that's coming from that. So sometimes we sign we sign on the dotted line, and then it's not all out in the open until we get into it, right? And things start to reveal themselves. Like I had a house that I signed on the line, and there were constant issues with water in the basement. Constantly. I did everything I could. I would not have known had I not lived in this house. I don't even think that the former owner, if the former owner did know about it, whatever, you move forward. But the point being is that these things kind of reveal themselves after you sign on the line and you step forward into that new life. So this is just talking about maybe getting back to the youthfulness and the innocence that you had within yourself, because the home doesn't have to be like a physical place. It could be just what's within you. So just know that you're in a little bit of state of confusion. I get that. You know, there's some confusion happening. It's come quickly. The other thing is that the scythe in front of this clouds is cutting through the confusion. So if you're feeling confused, it is changing, okay? We are softening. There are changes coming for you. Capricorn, my loves. Okay, so let's talk about the pathway between the feminine and the masculine. Excuse me for using gender. I'm not gendered specific. I'm just breaking my language at this point. It's been a lot of readings. So between the masculine and the feminine, there are a lot of positive cards that we do have some, so this burden is here in between the two. There is some underlying deceit that the feminine is in. So make sure that if you're the feminine, that you're not deceiving yourself as you're moving forward towards this masculine energy. We also have, this can be sexy and like heated passion, but it can also be argumentative, okay? So just make sure that if that's the energy that you're taking on, if you're taking on this Mars energy, that you're taking it on to build a relationship and not break it down, okay? So beautiful cards in between you. There's a lot of abundance. There's new beginnings. There's health and wealth, family, long-term possibilities, all of that in between. It is quite a jump. So you do have quite a ways to go to find each other. So I'm not seeing that it would happen necessarily this month, because you know it's hard to tell time-wise, but just know that the path that it is, you know, you're traversing it, okay? So you have to get through all of the challenges, the things that are holding you back in order to be your best you for each other. Okay, so, and if you're the masculine, you have to travel this other realm where, you know, you're physically making a change, and you're choosing this new beginning that might feel like it's a big weight for you to choose. It could be your emotional or your health, or what did I say? Emotion, health, or spiritual choice that you're making. So you're gonna have to do some digging yourself if you're in the masculine in order to get to your feminine. Okay. All right. And then did I talk about work? I did talk a little bit about work, but we've got a lot of like personal choices to make in order to reveal the sexy sauciness connection that is promised. And we have to get through some family burdens or some challenges of, you know, walking into our spiritual or our emotional health. And what else was going on in this long term? Okay, so, you know, basically you both had a relationship that you hoped was going to be stable, and it ended. So the beautiful thing about that is that you're both coming into each other's lives having had a similar background, and that's common. Okay, we all have this background, so so just know and the fact that it's very public could be the most difficult part of it all, but just know that is going to give you just another commonality, just something else that's going to bring you closer to each other. Okay, so and then here's the thing with the work on the female is that, you know, pay attention to your friend who might bring you some information this month. So Capricorn, that is what I have for you for January. I hope this resonates. Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know and hear from you. And for now, I'm going to wish you a Happy New Year's. Thanks for stopping by.